Hey, it's Chris. Welcome back. And if you're just joining us for the first time, we're in the middle of exploring thoughts and ideas from my book, Just Go, which I wrote in 2015 and has really shaped and changed my life in that it has given me a bit of a roadmap to help make sure my decisions are aligned with the mission of where I'm going with things. So we're gonna get right into it. The next chapter. How did I get here? Lying in a hotel bed in some town you've never heard of. The silence is so loud it's hard to decipher, even my own thoughts. An hour earlier, I was in a different universe. I was about to finish my show in front of a couple hundred college students. The unicycle that's taller than I am is being held by two college dudes with hoodies on to remind me of whatever college I'm at. I'm about to climb on and juggle to the crowd's delight. When I hear stories of my heroes on stage, they always talk about how you can't see the audience when on stage. That was a different time. I look out to a sea of glowing faces as the Snapchat story they're recording for their friends who didn't come to this show seems more important than the real live performer in front of them. Sometimes I find myself falling into the same trap. Am I living this experience right now or just recording it like a zombie through a screen that I can show to strangers on the internet to prove how adventurous my life is? They're going to be so impressed. This video will be the one to go viral and make me a star, I keep telling myself. I bet more people have seen me on that unicycle in Snapchat stories than have seen it in person. That might be an exaggeration, but it feels true sometimes. As the music kicks in, the crowd adds some noise with some cheers. A couple lone claps from the few without a phone in hand can be heard sometimes. I'm now juggling while balanced on a big pink unicycle. While there's a couple hundred eyes on me here, the whole world is watching through their phone. Probably from the dorm room across campus, but still. As I walk off stage, I remind the audience I'm available after the show for pictures and to give out posters. If I was decently entertaining, there will be a small line of people who take me up on the offer. That's my favorite part of the entire day. I get to feel like a big star. Even though they've never heard of me an hour before, they're lined up to take photos with me. Jugglers don't ever actually get famous, but a few people wanting to meet after a show gives a nice taste of what it might be like. After I pack up the show and walk out of the theater, it all changes. I'm just back to being a face in the crowd. If you've never gone to a restaurant or a bar alone, you should experience it. Your thoughts get the best of you as you wonder if you should go talk to a group of strangers. Maybe they'll come talk to me when they notice I'm alone. It's something you wonder. It rarely happens. Sometimes I'll still be wearing my slightly flamboyant stage outfit, which will get the occasional mocking, "Nice pants" comment. I'll just laugh to myself and think about all the autographs I just signed. Back in the hotel room, I can reflect on all of this. If I'm in the mood to complain about something, there's plenty I could come up with. But remember, I have the best job ever. People pay me to travel around the world. In return, I just have to make them smile for an hour with some silly tricks I learned when I was a kid. As a shy kid growing up, I barely talked to anyone. I couldn't imagine getting in front of a group of people and talking, let alone performing. Throughout high school, I ended up spending a lot of time on stage, but I was hiding behind a drum set. I never had to talk, and no one really pays much attention to the drummer. Those drums created a safe place for me, like a barrier protecting me from the audience. I had a desire to ditch the drums and steal the show, but the comfort of not taking that risk always won. I think often of all the things we miss out on because living a boring life inside our comfort zone seems better than risking failure and trying something new. When looking at colleges to attend, Penn State caught my eye with their clubs run by students that gave you a home no matter what your weird hobby was. But I didn't get accepted. A couple years of perfect grades at a smaller local school, East Stroudsburg University, proved I was capable of holding my own in the big leagues. Penn State accepted me as a transfer student, so I packed my bags. The Penn State Juggling Club would be my new home. Within a year, I was the president of the club, figuring out ways to make everyone on campus know who we were. Appearing on the cover of the student newspaper on campus, the Daily Collegian, gave me a small taste of people knowing who I was. It all goes away the next day when someone else claims their own fame for 15 minutes. I think that's a big driving force for people who do creative things. You get a small taste of people accepting and embracing what you do early on. It's a feeling some people are never lucky enough to experience. The first time it happens, it's euphoric. Friends are congratulating you, strangers are emailing you. It's everything you've imagined and more. You think that's the new way of life, but the next day comes and it's back to business as usual. Except now, you're on a mission to get back on that level. But this time it's got to be bigger and better. The photo needs to be bigger. The article needs to be longer. No one will be impressed if things stay the same. I need more fame, more emails coming in, more strangers recognizing me. This might not go away, or maybe it gets replaced with something else when we get old enough to realize that at the end of the day, no one is really impressed, and you've only been trying to impress yourself this whole time. I can look back and remember all the amazing times that the Penn State Juggling Club provided. But just to keep a balance, I have to also mention there were countless winter nights that I would walk the icy campus to find no one else showed up. I'd wait around in the gymnasium space we had rented for an hour, then go back home, defeated. Didn't anyone see me on the newspaper cover yesterday? Oh yeah, everyone forgot already. But people did show up. Sometimes a lot of people showed up. But I wasn't content juggling with other students in a racquetball court with no windows. If it was nice out, we could juggle outside on the hub lawn where almost everyone on campus had to walk by. Juggling was able to spark some curiosity, but it couldn't capture the imaginations of people to keep them around. I wanted to create something that would make people forget they were on their way to class and stay and watch us instead. My approach to how I create shows to this day is influenced by those endless hours spent on the hub lawn, learning how to captivate audiences. I'm not sure why, but for some reason jugglers often become friends with magicians. I'm quite lucky this is the case. Maybe juggling and magic go so well together because juggling offers a great visual to grab people's attention instantly, and magic captures some other mysterious part of people's attention to keep them intrigued. All I knew was that the student organization website had a listing for the Penn State Performing Magicians. Kip and I had been working on a trick of our own. We only really cared about doing something cool to skip lines at bars and impress the girls once we got in. Turns out our trick was pretty good and even impressed the real magicians. We were in. I organized the best jugglers and magicians into a super group of performers and called it the Out of Hand Variety Show. When calls came in from events looking for jugglers, I offered them a juggling and magic variety show unlike anything they'd seen. I had no idea what I was doing, but I didn't worry about anything. The first shows were mostly us performing to music and not talking. As we realized how boring that was, we started adding more talking parts with jokes and comedy skits. I didn't realize it at the time, but it was a training ground and a perfect experimental beginning to my own one-man variety show that would soon bring me around the world. The grass started to appear greener, as it always does, on the other side. I was soon ready to branch out and do my own shows. I loved performing with other people, but I was longing for the freedom to do whatever I wanted without relying on other performers or worrying about different styles of performing meshing well for audiences. I started doing mostly kids shows around the Penn State area and distinctly remember the feeling of how bad they were. I had no idea what people wanted to see and still was under the impression that people might care a little bit about the actual juggling. With every show I did, I established a reason to why I was doing that particular juggling routine. People connect to a story, not the skills you possess. Everyone has skills and no one cares about anything that everyone has. Find a way to use the skills you possess to connect other people and you'll be on your way to something great. There it is. Okay. Thank you again for joining in this journey as I re-explore my book, Just Go. And if you would like to dig deeper into the world, check out the Between Dreams podcast. It's a show that I host where I talk to other entertainers and people who are out there doing really cool stuff. And it's not just for entertainers, it's for anyone who wants to make something happen and follow their dream. I talk to people and we dig into the challenges that they've overcome and the struggles and the triumphs, everything. And there's so much awesome stuff in there. You can listen to that everywhere you listen to podcasts, iTunes, your podcast app on your phone, Spotify, all the places that you have podcasts. You can search Between Dreams and check that out. And also on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Chris Ruggiero. Just search my name. You can see now we're doing video as well, so you can watch those conversations with bonus. And when you want to dig even deeper on Patreon, when you become a supporter, part of the family, you can see the bonus conversation with every single one of our guests. So there's so many ways that you can help get involved. And if you want to buy the book, you can grab that on Amazon as well. the reason why we're doing all of this is the goal is to create daily content that inspires and motivates you to get out there and make something happen. If we can create daily content that inspires you, the goal is to inspire one person every day to get out there and take that first step to accomplish whatever that big dream that you've been thinking about is. And it comes down to one thing. It's taking that first step. And I hope that these stories and this content helps you to take that first step and to just go. All right, thank you very much for listening and watching. That's it for now. Goodbye.